Welcome back to Estate Agency Mastery Season 3, Episode 9, would you believe? I'm joined today by Mark, the Gaffer at Rex. Mark, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me here, Chris. It's great to be here.
You know the score. I know you're a big fan of the podcast, right? So 20 minutes, if you're an agent in Birmingham, Belfast, Bognor Regis, you're thinking, I want to set my own estate agency up. What should I be doing in the first few months? I want 3 tips. What have you got for us?
3 tips for you then. So I'd look at nurturing. So anyone that's coming through, anyone that you know, and I'll talk to you a little bit more about what I mean by that, and someone that we mutually are a big fan of, Alex Hormozy, and what the approach might be there. So nurturing being one, the next thing being niche. So really focus down on who would be your ideal client, or essentially what are your ideal properties to sell. How are you going to be really focusing all your marketing, all your attention towards those sorts of homeowners and what they're aspirationally looking at trying to do. And then the third thing probably there would be video. Get really, really big for video, really, really prominent. Pay an expert to do it and get yourself out there.
Okay, so nurturing, video, and niche.
Niche.
Not in that order. Okay, so listen, the nurture thing, as you know from my background, I love nurture, right? In a previous business I was part of, they called it 36 touch. There's the world of AI now that can do it all for you. But from a basic point of view, you're saying nurture kind of in the first few months. How do I even go about that as a new agent?
Yeah, so it's a really broad term. Nurturing is essentially continuous follow-up and communication with anyone and everyone that you know. And what I mean by it in the way that I'd look, if it was me looking at growing a business, is if you break it down to the 4 quadrants in how, in all the people that you know or the people you could talk to, there are 2 quadrants where it's people I know and people I don't know. And then there's one-to-one conversations and there are one-to-many conversations. So if you focus very, very hard, first of all, on all the people that you know that you can have a one-to-one conversation with. Are you selling at the moment? Do you know anyone who's selling? What is your plan for your property portfolio over the next 5 years? What are you looking at trying to do? When do you want to upsize? You've got kids in primary school. When are you going to needing to be this sort of home? Having those conversations, having those one-to-one conversations, having as many of those as possible, asking for referrals. You can build a good amount of a revenue stream from there. And continue to nurture by having those conversations frequently, checking in with many people as possible, and building out what would be a very systemized nurture approach for some of those. There's the one-to-one of people that you don't know. So if you've got your first listing, you're having those one-to-one conversations by door knocking next door, down the street. And then again, the nurturing side of that is based off the conversation that you had the first time around, what needs to come next or what could come next. So 3 weeks down the line, we've actually had loads of interest in this property. This might actually change my reflection on the interest in this street or the price of what your property could be worth. We sold it so quickly, we've actually got 5 other people who specifically want to be in this street. Does that change it? And then there's the many people that you know. So nurturing is those newsletters that are going through your database, continually updating that local niche market about what's going on. And then there's the speaking to lots of people that you don't know to get your brand out there and get yourself out there a bit more. So video that's going across social media, whether that's in free channels like local marketing groups and you're consistently having a nurtured presence there, or whether you are just doing paid ads and trying to get that top of funnel really, really strong.
Makes complete sense. I think there's lots tied up in that. The first thing for me is what I find criminal is when agents start and they don't ring every person they know on their phone and say something like, one of the lines we use is, hey, could I ask for a favor? Sure, what is it? I'm going to send out a newsletter. If you see anything glaringly wrong, can you drop a 1 or 2 liner back to let me know? The person's thinking, I've got off scot-free here. Brilliant, what was your email? And like you say at the end, going, now you know what I do. Who in your world has a property related requirement? Not what could you refer me or whatever, and you think it's a good call. And if you've got 2,000 people on your phone, and this is what they do in Australia and North America, they're militant with the follow-up and hey, I haven't spoke to you for a few months, what's happening? They use the Ford Friends Occupation Recreation Dream acronym. We won't probably get to that stage maybe in the UK, but simply phoning your pals and saying, this is what I do, can you refer me? I think works. The second bit that you mentioned that I really, really like is the the people you don't know that you should. So I challenged Josh Webber to go out this. You may have seen it.
Yeah.
Really, really cool. And we followed an Aussie guy online, knocked on someone's door and goes, "Hey, listen, we're doing a welcome to the neighbourhood card for your neighbour. You might recognise me from a few of the boards. Now, a lot of your neighbours are creating social proof. I've wondered what their properties. So we're doing kind of 10-minute equity checks. Is that something you know that would be valuable?" Yes, it would do.
Yeah.
Off the back of that, within 2 hours, you booked in 3 valuations.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. But it doesn't work in the UK, does it?
It doesn't work in the UK because agents don't do it,
Exactly,
right?
yeah,
So
yeah.
we're running a training day tomorrow for our agents in London, and that's one of the scripts and dialogues we'll be rolling out. And I've actually got a lot of cards,
So
people can.
Yeah, and actually, just adding on to that, when you say that, and I'm being, as much as it's a bit tongue in cheek, saying that it doesn't work in the UK. The problem that I see a lot of the time is that if it doesn't work first time or it doesn't work second time, then it doesn't work. So we're not going to do it any further. It's that consistency and being persistent with it. So these methods will work. You're never going to be amazing the first time that you do it, but the 100th time you do it, you're going to be much better. You do it 100 times and you get 5 valuations off the back of that, just from knocking 100 doors. It's a pretty cost-effective, even time-effective way. It doesn't take that long to knock doors. Cost-effective way to get your first 5 valuations.
So I've got an agent today that texts me saying they put £800 worth of direct mail out. Great, and they're busy. They can afford to do it in their kind of P&L, and when we look at their business, it's great. And I said, brilliant. I got a Val booked in, and I quit back with £800 per Val. And he goes, yeah, you're right. Do you know it doesn't cost anything for a Val? And then he put the knocking sign. Right?
Yeah.
Now he's in the point where he gets his business's referral business, and he doesn't necessarily need to. But at the same time, if that ever dries up, I think you have to. But again, we went out with another one of our agents the other day. He was, it doesn't work. And we built them up. They were confident. And by the end of it, they're going, this is easy. Everyone's really nice. And I've had some good conversations. It does work.
Yeah.
Last thing on the nurture piece then, the email nurture piece. Do you just send out property of the week every week to everyone on your, on your database? Do you do hyper-local stuff? Do you do community stuff? What have you seen through all of your clients, without giving the game away of who does what? But what works well and gets a high click-through, high return?
Really good question. So a lot of it is, without being too clickbaity in how you structure what you're sending, essentially you're going to want to capture people's attention and have something that is interesting to click on. So if you're hyper-local, again, like hyper-niche with things, the sort of stuff that works is, here are the 5 nicest streets in our area with a countdown, or here, over the last 10 years, here are the most expensive 10 properties that have sold, and really simple stuff where you get that data, where you can pull that data and pull the info in. And if you're using Claude or Claude Cowork or something for AI, you can prompt an HTML newsletter to be created within about 30 seconds within your branding, well written. Doesn't have to be like amazingly perfectly curated by yourself. It's that content that is going to drive the clicks, drive the brand awareness, and drive the attention to you.
Would you be happy to share a prompt so we can put in the show notes?
Yeah, absolutely.
There we
we'll
go.
put something across.
All right, thank you so much. The value's here. You heard it here first, and we're doing the same thing, right? With a lot of what we're doing actually with the system now. So our individual agents, we're working with E09, Totteridge and Whetstone, and they're actually using prompts and getting stuff out that makes him look like the hyper local agent, which he is. So that moves us nicely over to niche, right? Now, how do you niche down? How do you decide what your niche is? Should you get distracted from your niche? It's one of your 3 points. You tell me.
Yeah, good question. So the niche is the way that I frame it is your ideal client. So if you are going as a premium agent, you are not selling anything that is below the top 20% of valued properties in that area, or H-banded council tax or whatever. So you focus on who are the homeowners, what's the demographic of those homeowners, and how do I communicate with those homeowners in every single little bit of my marketing that I do. So what does your avatar of your seller look like? How do I generate my, where do they live? What do they interact with? Where am I going to get my brand in front of them and my personality in front of them? So if you're selling to, I use the premium example again, is everything you're engaging with that local golf club, which I know stereotypically is, let's say, or a tennis club or that sort of thing. So is your branding and your messaging going in that sort of segment? Equally, if you are going to be the historical expert of a quadrant of houses that were built in a specific time, that you know the entire history about this local area. How do you make yourself embedded completely within that niche or that community? Well, it's my kid goes to that primary school. I'm going to talk to everyone that's when I pick them up in the playground. We know that they are really focused on going to these sorts of areas, or that the real centre of this community is this place here, this coffee shop. That's who I'm going to partner with. That's who I'm going to make sure my brand's in. I'm going to do something within that focus. So really just niching down on knowing who you want to sell to and how you get to communicate to them and what you say to them and how you get them to be on side.
Makes sense. And I think one of the common mistakes I see is when people start, they go, I'm going to charge or to sell properties that are £1 million plus, right? That's my niche. And then all of a sudden they get an apartment that doesn't quite hit that niche, and how does that work? So one of the things I've learned over the last few years is, and it's been referred to a lot as the ink drop theory, is your niche is your hyper-local area, and the more you drop ink, the bigger you seem to become, and people will drive through your area and go, wow, you're everywhere, but you're on 4 or 5 streets, and then you get referred out. I think the other thing I see is when agents make a mistake in their first few years, they get referred something out of area, but it might be £1 million, it might be plus, it might be really, really nice, but they're going to have to do 13 to 19 viewings on it. They're not all going to be at the same time. Well, that's 45 minutes there, plus 15 minutes set up, 45 minutes back. All of a sudden you're losing a week's worth of your probably 40 something weeks that you work. So that's 5% of your time on a property where you're probably going to get no referrals anyway. So it's hard to give that up. Could you co-list it or what have you? So I think this niche bit, my advice there would be, don't just go, I'm going to sell your £1 million plus, and really think about it. Yeah.
And the other part of things that I'd say about it is, if you're going up and setting your own business, so you're nurturing, you're niching, doing all these things that we're sort of talking about, you will have done things historically for how you've trained as an estate agent or who you've worked for previously. Don't be afraid to do things your way. If you were coming into an industry as an estate agent who'd been in another industry really strong in asset sales or selling like even a product or a SaaS product or something, you would probably not do estate agency the way that estate agents do estate agency. Like, is it the most time efficient way to book 13 viewings over 2 weeks and go drive out to this property for 10 minutes, do a viewing, come back, and have no sort of fear of missing out or no scarcity behind there being a bunch of different people coming through that property at the same time? If someone was saying to you, this is how you should do estate agency, for someone who's coming from outside the industry, you'd be building up to this one climactic open home or series of viewings, so that you know that there's a load of people going through that property. They're all talking about the interest on this property. They're all highlighting great things about it. You're looking at the person actually being like, shit, I want this property. I want to beat them, sort of thing. And you'd have best and final offers by a particular date, and you'd present all the offers. And obviously there's some competing different things in terms of, are they cash buyers, all these sort of things, which you'd get to. But you'd be more efficient than I think we'd be typically in UK estate agency. And I would say, like, don't be afraid to reset the norm and do things your own way and create your own personality behind things. Yeah, and there's some really good agents that they release it to their database before the right move and beat right move. You're right on the open houses. I love them. I've done them for, I'm showing my age here, 15 years or so. And you create that scarcity. You make, people are going to be parking over each other on the drive, and you open the door a bit flabbergasted. Hey, Mr. Ahmed. Yeah, we've got so many people coming through. How are you? Let me show. Yeah. And you're flustered because of And knock every other door in the street. I'm so sorry that it was so busy. This open home we had the other day. There's actually so many people who want to live in this street. Yeah. I mean, this is the ultimate time to sell if you're looking at doing so. And that's probably the shittest script you'll ever see. But someone who's an expert in these things, you'd be able to present it. But it's do it. If you don't do it.
Well, the only tweak I'd add to that is I'd knock the day before or when I'd listed it and go, hi, I just wanted to give you my card. We're having an open house on Saturday. If you see anyone driving up and down slowly, they're not doing drive-bys, but listen, I wanted you to have my card just in case someone parks across your drive and you need me whatsoever, so you've got my details. Brilliant. Turn, go to walk away. Oh, by the way, would it be valuable if it would let you know what it went for? Brilliant. What was your email? What's your phone number, right?
That's it, yeah.
I'll share another one you could do after we did the thank you card one that we mentioned. Or even, listen, I'm doing a moving in party. I'd just like to invite the local neighbours. Would you like to come? Brilliant. What were your details? Again, you've then got them on your database. How nice is it that the estate agent's knocked your door and not said, do you want to sell your property? It's like, I'm doing something for the community. Guess what? They then get to meet you at the event. You then throw them on the nurture sequence from Daniel Priestley's 7-11-4, which, if you don't know what that is, definitely Google that and have a look. Kirsty Frank's 15% of people are looking to sell right now. You combine the two, it's so powerful.
Yeah.
So I love a script. Thank you for warming that. But okay, fine. So we've done the nurture, we've done the niche, video. You just, what do you do? How do you do your videos? How do you get it out?
Video is the big thing in that I went to an event with a load of agents a year or so ago, and the whole thing, the excitement was around video, even more so than actually talking about properties that they transacted. It's like, oh, we did this amazing video tour. And it's great, it is interesting. But the whole video approach is that you get so much of your personality across, and people like short form content. And as soon as someone is flicking through properties on TikTok or on Instagram, their algorithm is going to be showing so much more video around that sort of theme. And if you are prospectively high in that and you've got interesting short form content, you will get that engagement. And again, 7-11-4, you are consistently in front of them. So although you've only got a couple of boards or you've only got a couple of listings, you've not been there, they are consistently seeing you and thinking, he's everywhere. This guy's everywhere. He must be amazing. And like Chris Watkin talks about it all the time, but property and the property market is one of probably the top 3 or 4 most interesting things to British people. It's within our DNA to be a homeowner, like aspirationally to be one. People talk about property prices, people talk about the renovations they're doing, people talk about everything to do with their home. It's interesting content, and it's little things like, oh, here's this amazing kitchen I saw, or here's the top 5 nicest streets in this hyper-local area, here's the countdown of 50, and I know I'm stealing that from other personalities, but it works.
It works so well.
It's cheap, it's low effort. You're not going to be amazing the very first time that you do it. Your script's going to be crap. You are going to look awkward on camera, but 10 in, you're going to be better. 20 in, you're going to be better. And then when you're 30 or 40 in, people are going to be like, that guy is so good at what he does. And you're just creating this, it's the quickest way. Like, you could do it text-based, you could send letters, but the personality in the video is a million times more.
Do you know what, I'm doing an event tomorrow night where I'm summarising pretty much this season of the podcast. And you're completely right in terms of the street of the week. One of my top 10 things is a non-negotiable. I'll be doing street of the week every week, and some of our big agents in the brokerage that I operate, they swear by it. They swear by it, and it's consistent. It shows you can be consistent. It shows you love your area. It shows local knowledge. And he's like, it's great. I get people pick up the phone literally when I put them out, but I've been doing it for the last 5 years.
Yeah.
Makes complete sense. Okay, fine. I'm going to curveball you a little bit then. In fact, before I do, you're completely right. So a tip I wanted to give, but Rightmove's own stats are 8% more click-throughs, 6% more viewing requests simply by having a video. What we tell our agents to do is put the video link to your Instagram, so then you're getting almost traffic to your own kind of socials. But what's the best thing you've seen if you were to say, go and try this? You're an agent now watching, you're going, okay, fine, you've said the top 50, whatever else. What's one curveball or thing you've seen work? Maybe from Australia, I don't know, and you're like, go and do this.
Yeah, that's a really good question. So let's say the best video tours I've seen are done by an Australian agent called Ryan Fisher. Sells in Melbourne, obviously the properties look amazing, but the way I often see with video tours that we do in the UK, it's you don't want to get away from like, you're the presenter there, you want to get your own brand behind it, but you don't want you to be the real big aspect of that property video. But the way that they talk about, not just here's the bedroom, here's blah, 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 talking about it, it's actually the language that's used and the way that it's phrased and the way that he particularly talks about the property is both in in tapping into that kind of intellectual side of things, in that this is a good investment, this is, but it's also really talking about that emotional side of things, of how can you see your kids here? We know the target market for this particular property, and again, like niche into that target market for the property that you're trying to sell. And I'd say that's rounded about the tip in how that.
And I really like that, because I think the type of videos that I see performing now, and we're trying to emulate, certainly in London, are the kind of Netflix style documentary ones where there's maybe the hook at the start is putting the mic on. I'm like, this place is incredible, but it's not supposed to be filmed.
Yeah.
As opposed to, hi, I'm Chris Buckler from TA UK London. Come and have a look around this 4-bed, 5-bath. Right? It's just dead now.
And those penthouse like videos that you'll get in central London, or like a nice like coastal region where it looks over like an amazing view. Yeah, they're going to get the click through of people like, oh, I want to see this really aspirationally amazing property. Are you necessarily going to get the buyer through it? And if you want to talk more into those buyers, and you're selling like a 2 up, 2 down semi in a new town somewhere, you've got to talk about the type of people who are going to buy that property, which is those who are going to be the starter home, who might be pregnant with their first kid and need to find a property to buy. How do you talk about, this is the place where you're going to bring your child back to hospital, your baby back from hospital to?
Yeah.
And how do you emotionally touch into that language? And I mean, there's amazing things you can do with AI now, which kind of position what that property could look like. And they're the sorts of interesting things, I think, that we don't talk about enough, of how you can leverage AI.
Yeah. And we were talking about AI off camera, and I'm a massive advocate of, we will all have personal AI within the next 10 years. And I will say, right, I'm thinking of selling my house, what agent should I use? And I'll say that, and then on my mirror, as I'm doing my teeth in the morning, whatever, it will pop up. And one of the things the AI will look for is, like, do I think I'll like them, personality types, all of that stuff, but how long have they been putting content out on socials, which is good, that it knows I would like, or whether I've had an interaction. And the longer that digital CV goes back, it doesn't matter if I was once at one of the big London agencies, it's how long have I been doing really, really good content will be weighted in the response. So I'm a huge advocate of, you need to be doing videos now, not just because it's your digital CV now, but to future-proof yourself. And those that have been doing this the last 10 years have got a huge advantage when your personal AI is going to be going, you probably want to use Mark or Chris or whoever else.
And if you're an agent and your company's not doing video, and you're saying, I want to start doing video, and they're saying, I don't want to, or I don't think it works, you're not in the right place.
No, fine. Thank you. Very last one. I want to curveball you with any tip you have got for any agent at any point in their career, something you've maybe heard in the last 3 months and you thought, that's gold. What have you got for us?
That's a good question. Lean into AI. And I know that sounds like everyone's saying it at the moment, but lean into AI, because there is such an asymmetric risk of doing so. You lean into AI and you learn it and be the top 5% in the business. You're in a massive corporate and you're the top 5% of knowledge and use of AI. Regardless of whether we have this enormous takeoff of it controlling our entire lives, you're going to always have that skill. If you don't, there's a bigger risk at not leaning into AI than there is in leaning into AI. So that's what I say about the asymmetric risk there.
And where would you start?
Where would I start? Good question. I would start creating your personality across Claude or ChatGPT, and basically saying, this is where I want to be in 5 years' time, or this is how do I get there?
And reverse engineer back
to that. So whether that's training courses, whether that's who should I be following, what should I be doing, that's if you get a learning budget from your agency that you're at, or you are being able to do courses or more learning, just tell it where you want to be in 5 years' time, 10 years' time, whenever it is, and just start with those steps.
So use an LLM as your coach.
As your coach, yeah.
Nice. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
If you've enjoyed this episode, please make sure to like and subscribe. I'll see you on the next one.